Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking in. Today we're going to look at multi-tools. And we're going to review one, the Gerber Suspension. Take a look at it. It's a new addition to the crew. Stay tuned. So welcome back, everybody. This is going to be a quick video to take a look at the new to me, I shouldn't say new, but got for part of the Christmas haul, the Gerber Suspension multi-tool. And I've had it now long enough, right at a little bit over a month, right? And take a look at what it offers and how I compare it to past multi-tools I've had or do have, and what I consider the advantages or disadvantages. Obviously, this is one of the older Gerber multi-tools. This thing has to be 10 plus years old. I've had it for quite a long time. The bit fell out of the teeth there for the wire cutters. It has had a lot of abuse and has done fairly well. I think all the tools are still in here. This rides in the vehicle right now and was potentially the one I was looking at putting in the cache when I was talking multi-tools. But that's an old Gerber that I've had for a long time. An old Swiss Army knife, the go-tos, the tools they have on there. Let's go ahead and deploy some of those so we can do a comparison. We pull out the new Gerber. We can just go through some of that discussion. Do that. And anybody's familiar? A Hesco tool. I don't know if you can still see it on there. It still says Hesco barely, but these are what used to come with the they might still come with, I don't know. Came with the Hesco barriers. When you set them up, there'd be one stashed in there with it. You could use it to set up, and obviously it's a tool. It was well cherished and coveted by all, it seemed like. But this is a vehicle tool that's, another 15 years old maybe, and probably 10, a little bit over 10 years old, 12, 13, not 15 quite. But so this has been a very long-standing tool that I've used that has been very useful. You can see the wear there. I actually bent the pliers back when. But in comparing those and the use I've got out of those to this new Gerber tool, the one right off the bat thing I noticed that I liked about it was the tools deploy without unfolding it. The tools deploy from the side, and that's a benefit in the I do like that about it. It has the easy retraction system there. This is the newest tool I have, so I'm sure that they've had others similar that have come out over the years. This is the first one I'd seen that I've been able to own, I guess, that does that. So in an upgrade, I would consider from the older tool there, being able to deploy without deploying the pliers in particular. Because with this one, if we look at it, now that I've taken everything out, you couldn't even open it. You couldn't even deploy the tools without pulling the pliers out. So that was definitely a consideration. It's good that they took that and upgraded that, because that's kind of a hassle. When all you need is one of the tools inside, you want to be able to get to them without having to go to your pliers, right? One thing I do like is it is compact. It's a smaller package. It's a little bit heavier than this. This might be a different metal material, but this is heavier than this older one, for sure. I could break out the scale, but just using my calibrated hand here, it's definitely a heavier weight item. And I don't know if that's because it's got a heavier metal or tool or what, because this is a longer piece, as you can see there. But it might just be the type of metal they used or something in there. I don't know. But that was interesting. The tools themselves seem to be pretty standard. I noticed the knife was not a standard blade, I guess. When you look at what's come on this Hesco tool, your standard knife blade that kind of comes with a lot of older knives. In here, yeah, the older Gerber didn't even have a similar knife. Now that I look at it, let me pull that out. It's got so Gerber's keeping it pretty standard there and having a different style with what they offer. I had forgotten about that, but I kind of like the blade that comes with those Hescos and a regular, Swiss Army knife blade. But in using the tools, I have used the knife, the screwdrivers. I have used those and the pliers over the last month. And interesting design too on their Phillips head screwdriver. I found this, it was kind of flat. You can see how narrow that is. And I guess this is to make a more compact device, make the tool more compact. I found that very interesting how narrow that was. If that'll focus. You can see that's almost blade thickness, whereas your other tools, especially this older one, it's your standard Phillips head. Whoa. It's your standard width Phillips head, same as on the Hesco one. So I found that interesting, and I was going to use it, and I was wondering if it would have any issues, but it worked fairly well. It was acceptable. I wouldn't say it was worse necessarily, but it probably could be a little bit better, especially if you had a tight Phillips head screw. But I found that interesting how they made that nice and thin, but it still yet worked on Phillips head screws. I've used it a couple times and was pleasantly surprised on that. So that was an upgrade. Used the wire cutters. The wire cutters worked well, and it's got spring action, so it opens without obviously it just opens up on its own, which I guess I've never really thought about the conservation of energy in that respect, but I can see where it's of benefit. Pliers seem to work well, just as similar to what you got on the old ones. No compromise on anything, and again, it's got a beefier feel. The comfort when you're gripping it like pliers is more comfortable than it was with these older ones, I noticed. In that, and obviously this not being spring loaded, now that I think about it, yeah, it was always a hassle. You get pinched in here and stuff when it wouldn't open up. I remember there being a hassle on these now that I think back. But another upgrade I like is they got rid of these plastic pieces. While these are still on here and not broken, they have these metal slides now. Now we'll see how these work once we get some dirt and debris in there, but right now the spring action on those works fine, and I do like that they got rid of the plastic off of the old design. But in function and use and everything, I think they're just as comparable as any other multi-tool, and I like it. I like the use and the weight of it, so I definitely consider it an upgrade when you're looking for something new and comes in a more compact package. It's got the rubber grips on the end, so it's kind of rubberized here to make that grip more comfortable. Right there. So I think that's part of that, is making that a little bit better grip action when you do use it as a plier. So that was an upgrade they took into consideration. I like that. And then again, the full profile. It is probably a little bit wider. Yeah, you can see it from the old model, but not as long. So if you actually put it in, depending on what you're carrying it in, is where that really gets affected. And I think these used to go, don't these go down further? This should go down further, but I think, well, no, that's just the way they came. So, and speaking of carrying, the case was very part of the improvement. I thought it's a firm case. It holds its form. It's got it's form nylon or whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. It seems to work fine. I've been carrying on my belt a lot, trying to utilize it. I do like that. The only thing I don't like about the case is the loop in the back. It seems very durable except for this loop. It looks like it's starting to wear up here on the top already. So the case is less than ideal. What I might do is end up stitching a piece that goes from this heavy band to this heavy band. They kind of stitch it to the body, because it looks like they've got it designed to where you can be using a belt like this or like a belt like this, which you could do, which wearing it like that and being able to get to it would be just as easy. But I usually carry it in the standard configuration on the belt like so, and that's put a lot of stress. It probably would have been an improvement to stitch this directly to these heavy bands, and probably would have worked a little bit better. Plus, it would give you a little bit of room for a little bit thicker belt. I can wear it with it still fits on I call it a rigger's belt. I don't know what you guys call it nowadays. But it still fits on a rigger's belt. And any thick leather belt is still wide enough. It doesn't fit on a gun belt though, or a cartridge belt, which I thought that would have been a plus if it was wide enough to fit on a cartridge belt, but it does not. So that was a minus point, but it needs a bigger, more beefier attachment points to be able to do that anyway. So the case is pretty good, other than that strap in the back, which I can improve upon moving forward. So just some things I've found with this Gerber suspension, and I definitely consider it an upgrade over the old tool, just in the feel of use, and some of the tools are improved in their weight. It's got similar tools to any Swiss Army knife. It's interesting how Gerber doesn't go with a standard blade like a lot of knives do, which I'd have to look at a Leatherman. I haven't seen one of those in years, but I'm pretty sure Leathermans still have a similar blade to this, but Gerber doesn't go with that. But that's just my review of that, and kind of how I think it's a pretty good piece of gear if you're looking to upgrade, get a new multi-tool. This Gerber suspension was a good price. It's not going to be like break the bank. Some of the Leathermans are excessively so expensive, I would say. But this was a decent price. I got it. I think it was on sale at Christmas too, so it was a less than average, and I think we're talking under $30 easy. So down there with any regular one blade knife. Definitely worth it. Leathermans now, you see them, they go like $75 and up, it seems like, for any full size, what you would consider a full size plier, at least, to give you that. But they got some micro ones that are much more pricey. But the biggest concern I have with this is dust and dirt jamming up these retractors where they retract the tools when they're deployed. Other than that, it looks like it'll be fairly usable. They cut it out to save some weight out of the handle here, but somehow it still has a heavier weight feel. So they must have added some blade width to the tools in there to make it more beefy on that end, which is the important part. The handle's not the important part, as long as it still works with your pliers. The plier looks to be maybe some of the weight. Let's check the size of the plier. And I'm pretty sure it's just a metal piece, because that's a comparable size of the pliers themselves, but yet I think this is more of a metal and this is more of an aluminum. This is probably an alloy of some sort, heavier duty. So it's not had any corrosion issues. I haven't seen any problems. I haven't got it really necessarily really wet. We've had rain and stuff, but it's had no problems, and obviously it'd be easy to clean out once you get in here. There's no problem with stuff getting trapped down in here. you can easily clean out of the handles and where the tools are, so that's good. It looks like it would rinse out and clean up pretty well, whereas this, it was easy to get things trapped in the grooves like in a Leatherman or the Hesco tool. So that's an upgrade too, having better access to clean that out should you get something jammed in there. So that's just some thoughts, something to look at if you're looking at getting a new tool. So putting that out there for everybody. Wanted to share my thoughts and my experience so far. If anything pops up, we'll make an addendum to this, I guess. But have a good day. Live free.